Hi, I'm Dr. Tim Weir, and I gotta tell you, I love life. But when I'm not being a husband, a father, a grandfather, an author, or a practicing chiropractor, I'm the host of the television show, Loving Life with Dr. Tim Weir. I love to cook. I love to travel. I like to spend time with people who do what they love and love what they do. Join me and Elvis for the next 30 minutes as we help you discover how to love life. Hey, welcome to this episode of Loving Life. I'm glad you're here. So I'm in Old Salem. It's right by Winston-Salem. It's a part of Winston-Salem. And I'm meeting Dr. Nola Knaus, which is the director of music for the Moravian Church. And I'm also with a friend, Dr. Ricky Sides. So let's go across. We're going to go across here to the, it's actually the Single Brothers House from Old Salem. So we're going to go meet these guys over here. Doctor.
Good afternoon.
Doctor.
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 It's a pleasure. Welcome to Winston-Salem.
Well, thank you.
Especially to Winston-Salem and Old Salem.
It is amazing. Because when most people, I think, have a vision of old-time America, they, like I said, they think of Williamsburg. But this is my first time here, and it is absolutely, I like it better than Williamsburg.
Well, because this is a living town.
Yeah.
People still live and work here, and the streets are not closed off to traffic, so that we have not given up on the modern world.
Right.
It's not just a museum.
So people can come here. They pay a fee, but then they can tour all these old buildings and old, you know, we lose so much of history. We get caught up in tomorrow and we forget our past. And this is just an absolutely fabulous thing. But I want to know what got you here.
Well, I'm a Moravian. My mother and father both are Moravians. We can trace our family history back to the early 1700s when they came across the Atlantic to America to find a new home.
Wow.
And so they came first to Pennsylvania and then migrated down to the area which is known as Wachovia Bank, you may call it the name of the bank. And Old Salem emerged from the early settlers who came here.
So Moravian, the Moravians came from a break off of the Catholic Church, is that right?
Correct.
Yes, yes. Actually, very early on, in 1457, they founded their own denomination. So they were 60 years before Martin Luther did the same thing.
And they really wanted the heresy of having the service in English and having some music.
Well, having it in their own language, wherever that may be, and singing congregational hymns in their own language.
Well, it's always nice to know what you believe.
It's nice to know what you believe. It's nice to have the congregation members participate in every part of worship.
Wow. So, now, as speaking of music, you're the director of the Moravian Music Foundation.
Yes.
And Dr. Sides says you're quite the flautist.
Well, that's nice for him to say that.
So you mentioned in Moravian services there are bands. So music, I think, is pretty big within Moravians.
It is. It's an essential part of our life and worship.
Wow.
The assumption is that music is not an incidental. It's not a luxury. It's for Zinzendorf, who was one of our 18th century forefathers, music was the best way to develop and form and express your faith.
Well, you know, as I think about David playing the harp.
Yes, yes. Well, as an early Moravian, when I grew up, I was expected to learn an instrument. I trained on clarinet and played in the Moravian band for years, and for services. We
didn't know that.
Yes,
Get
I
that
did.
clarinet
Yes,
back
yes.
out.
And
Get that clarinet out.
You learn something new on this show all the time.
That's right.
and I studied clarinet and organ. I mean, piano and organ as well. So that was very much a part of a young person's Moravian background. We're expected to express our faith in whatever form we feel comfortable doing.
And you know, we talk about forgetting our history. I'm seeing a more and more, we're not doing music. Kids are not learning instruments like they used to. They don't play the piano like they used to.
We don't sing in our family homes the way we used to. Everybody's so wrapped up in their computer games or toys or whatever, and texting instead of singing together. So I think it's very much, the church really needs to pick up that gap.
Yeah.
Well, today
exactly.
in the Moravian Church, we still do that.
We still
and
sing
we have
a great
classes.
deal.
Yeah,
we have the band
sing.
classes.
We have band classes for young people, for people who are not even members of the church can come and learn an instrument.
Wow.
In fact, of the 25 or 30 people in this year's band class, over half are homeschooled young people who are not Moravians.
Really?
They're there because this is an opportunity for them to learn a band instrument, and these are free. All you have to do is show up with an instrument.
Is that cool or what?
It is wonderful.
Yeah.
And the Moravians are very similar to the Methodists and the Baptists and
Sure.
the Presbyterians, basically.
And our theology
and we
is
are
very
mainstream Protestant faith.
Yeah.
And in this area, we're a major part of this community and its foundation.
That's amazing. Because we had talked a little bit earlier. At one time, most of Forsyth County was
Yes,
Moravian.
belonged to the Moravians. They bought 100,000 acres in the central North Carolina in 1753, actually for three purposes. One was to give them a safe place to maintain their church and worship as they needed, and should things go wrong in Germany where they were. Two was the church was having some financial difficulties, and they knew they could buy this land inexpensively and sell it off in parcels and deal with the church's debt. But the most important driving factor that brought them to North Carolina was the desire to spread the gospel and share the good news of Jesus Christ among the Native Americans, which they did.
Dr. Sides was mentioning that missions
Exactly.
is a big part of the Moravian
Very
church.
And the
so.
Moravians were the first in many things in this nation.
Yeah.
We had running water in this community when running water was in the home.
George Washington
Yes.
loved the running water system here.
Yes,
Really?
he stayed here too. And of course, you know, I'm a chiropractor.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, I am the only chiropractor who's a Moravian today. And so I
Well,
was
I'm
known
going to
for it.
join the church so I can be the second.
Go for it. Go for it. Come right ahead. People have
We
joined
would
for
love
worse
to have you.
reasons.
Yes, yes.
So we've got a wreath behind us. We're celebrating Christmas at Old
In
Salem.
Old Salem. It's starting. And you'll see that the banners are decorated.
Yeah.
There'll be festivals here. There'll be band performances. The Love Feast. The Love Feast is a very important part of the Moravian heritage. And it's
And-
and
and-
Hernu, didn't it?
It did.
Now, are people invited to come to that?
Absolutely.
To the public.
Absolutely. Yes.
Christmas
Yes.
Eve, we do 4 Love Feasts
Four
here
Love
at Home
Feasts.
Church. And they're standing room only.
Wow.
You need to get here about an hour early if you wish to come to the Love Feast. And we serve the traditional Love Feast bun, which is made out of potato dough bread, and the Moravian coffee, which is a sweet coffee. And that's served during the service with the beautiful music. And we'll have an orchestra here playing, and we'll have the band playing, and it's a phenomenal festival event. The whole city turns out for this type of event.
Yes.
And not many people do not know who the Moravians are in Winston-Salem.
They got me wanting to know. How about you?
Well, and there's a Moravian church in Raleigh that has similar things on Ridge Road.
But I mean, if you're going to come, you might as
come
well
here.
come to the home
Come
here.
This is a very special place
Yeah.
during Easter, Christmas, and every day is special here in Old Salem.
Okay, now don't change your channel because we're going to be right back with these two getting a little bit more information.
You're going to see a work in progress of a putz, which is a German word for decoration. And this is a decoration of that would have been in the homes in Salem 150 years ago or whatever. But it is the Nativity, which we don't have constructed yet. Tomorrow it's going to be done. And then it shows the Salem scene. In the early, and Nola probably knows more about this, but in the early days of Salem, people would have a putz in their home. They would have the Nativity, and then they have something that represented home, a village to them.
You know what I'm hearing is something that, again, we're losing, is tradition.
We are very steeped in tradition.
Yeah.
And
But we're
maybe-
not bound to it.
Right.
Maybe you can add to what I've said.
No, you're doing
No, you're
great.
doing fine. But
Great.
I love what you've said. But we forget our history.
Yes.
So
Yes.
thank you for letting us be a part of this.
And what you're going to see today, we have worked on this since the first week in October. I have 3 groups of people, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday night group, 3 or 4 people, and they come put sections together so that it's a progressional thing.
Wow.
And we're nearing the end. On the Saturday after Thanksgiving, we'll come clean all this up. And I can't get the lights to work today, so I think our master putzmeister has them off because there's some new equipment that
Okay.
I don't know how to work. But let's come down.
Cool.
Well, I'm part of the Tuesday team that helps build this. And it's a great opportunity to give back to the community and to the
absolutely.
church.
Absolutely.
Be part of that. And it's a fascinating evolution
Oh, it's
of this
awesome.
process.
Over a 2-week period, we'll have about 10,000 people who will come through.
Wow.
And you are treated individually somewhat. You come
Yeah.
through in a group of about 35 and you experience, it takes probably more than an hour to come through, and you probably have to wait a couple of hours.
Some
to
people
get
will
in.
wait 2 or 3 hours in line.
Amazing.
Nola and her husband and I will do music one night, and we have different organists who do that, and candles and all this. So we invite you to come.
And we start the first week of Wednesday in December.
Yes.
First is Sunday.
Yeah.
Second,
So
third,
the
fourth,
fourth-
fifth.
The
It starts
The
fifth
fifth
of
is the first-
December,
is a public
Wednesday,
night.
or is that Thursday?
Well,
That's a
that's
Thursday.
Thursday. It opens to the public at 1 on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of 2 weekends. In the mornings from 9:30 to 1, we have school children during
Come through.
Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday we have Girl Scout troops who
Wow.
come through. And it's a wonder. It begins Christmas
It
for
does.
many of
Sure it
us.
does.
It does.
It reminds us of things that have happened that have been a joy to us in our faith journey.
Cool.
Very good.
Now be very careful and watch your head.
And Ricky,
So I'm going down this
be careful.
deep, dark place down here. If you don't hear from me in 2 weeks, the Moravians have me. Here we go. So you take it down every year?
Every year.
In January, the first Saturday in January, we'll come and take it all down.
Wow.
I was in here yesterday. I haven't felt to the wall, but yesterday when the arch, I touched it. It was just wet. The humidity
Oh,
was so
I see.
bad.
Yeah.
So we couldn't leave these down here. We take them and store them upstairs. Our snow is marble dust. A local firm gives this to us.
Wow.
The greenery we get from a person in the area.
So then every year you have to come in and re-put the marble dust here on the.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything starts from scratch. That's the oldest African American Moravian church
Active,
In the world.
Active.
Active African.
Really?
in
Not
America.
just Moravian, but active.
Now, is there a cross between the two? Do African Americans come up there?
Occasionally, yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is the historic church. The congregation actually has a new church over in the eastern part of the city, but this is their historic church. The older building to the right is the original log church, and then the brick church was built in the 1860s.
Wow.
Yeah.
But the congregation is still
Yes, the
active.
congregation
Sure.
is still active and thriving, and we work with them. Home Church, our congregation works with them and a couple of other congregations on some special projects.
That is so
year-round.
cool.
Yes.
So,
Wow.
The Moravian Church is a simple church with a lot of tradition, a lot of backbone for us. You're probably looking at 3 people, which is unusual, who have been Moravian all of our lives, and our families and ancestors before us.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. And there's not that many of us probably left.
Well, I hadn't thought about it.
Yeah,
because
right.
That's unusual to
Well, one of the cool things about the Moravian Church is that we trace our ancestry into the Czech Republic and then later in Germany. But there are roughly 1 million Moravians in the world right now, of whom over 800,000 are in Africa.
Tanzania.
Our former mission provinces of Tanzania and South Africa, and then also in Central America and the Virgin Islands have just exploded. So that we are very much an international, interracial,
sure,
multicultural
sure.
denomination, which is a wonderful thing.
That's neat.
It's
And
a
there'll be
phenomenal
somebody
opportunity to be
over
part of
there
something like this.
Okay, okay. All right.
You
Thanks,
can-
Mally.
I'm over in the kitchen.
Thank
Nice
you
to
again.
meet you,
Very good to
and
meet you.
I wish you would come to our tea. We have a lot of good things that go on at Christmas time.
And I just bring my
And
little
in
family up
January,
here.
Come right ahead.
January and
February,
February.
that's right, that's
Exactly.
right. Uh-huh.
Bye.
Very
See ya.
awesome.
Thank you, Mally.
Hey, thanks for joining me today. What an amazing show. I love people who can take a concept and run with it, make something out of it. That's what it's all about. tuning into something that's greater than you and I, taking that concept and turning it into life for others. Please join me on my website, drtimweir.com, Facebook, Loving Life with Dr. Weir, Twitter, Instagram. It's all about this connection that we put together that keeps us locked arm in arm, that helps each of us. Let me help you succeed as you help others succeed. Listen, let's keep loving life together. So till next week, you keep loving life.
Okay, well, I'm ready if you
Can we
want.
take them? So you.
I'll just hold on,
Okay.
because I may want to.
Hey.